So I'm going to show you now how to put in payroll information for employees who you've already put in. So you've put in your information in your employee list. So where does the payroll information sit? It sits completely separate from the employee information in this thing that we call payslips. Right now it's completely blank. The first thing you need to do, if you look at this pay type, this is where you will have listed all the things that can appear inside that payroll information for your employees. Right now you can see you basically have basic salary. These other fields that you see are calculated are available here because you have what we call modules, which is these ones here, which if you are to use them, when they calculate information that is required in the payroll, it would be imported using these fields. So you're actually not supposed to use this to put in the information that you manually input, like salary and other things. So strictly speaking, you only have basic salary selected here. However, let's say your employees have other things like housing allowance, commissions, maybe SACO deductions and the like. What you would do, you come back to the home page, and just below payslips, you have these things called pay types. These pay types are actually now those items that appear in a payslip. This pay types form has 3 columns. The first one on the left, as you can see, all of them are called unused in brackets. These are all the unused pay types. You would only activate what is relevant for your organization because you don't want everything appearing on the drop down in the pay slips because it would be quite untidy and difficult to use. Now, at the very top here, you have pay classes. Cash pay is everything paid in cash. Benefits is non-cash payments. Allowed is tax allowable amounts. And then tax, obviously, is the PAYE calculation. You have reliefs. Government deductions encompasses NHIF, NSSF, housing fund, and such things. Voluntary deductions, self-explanatory. That's where you would have your SACOs, your loan deductions, your recoveries, and all things like that. Untaxed is a category if you want to include, for instance, reimbursements, receipt-supported reimbursements in your payslips, you would put them in as untaxed. Memo is items that you want to appear in the payroll that have nothing to do with the net pay calculation for the employee. For instance, you want to put in the organization contribution to NSSF, the organization contribution to pension, and things like that. That would appear on the memo. It will appear on the payslip, but it's not going to be used to calculate the net pay. Sums is just totals, and then you're able to look at all classes. So right now we're looking at cash pay. So you can see everything is called cash, cash, cash. If we were to change this to voluntary deductions, you'll see now they are called voided, voided, voided. This is not voided, it's voided. This is an L. And as you can see for voideds, all you have is the 2 calculated. So let's say, for instance, you have cooperative shares that people are contributing. You would select that from the unused column. And depending on whether you want it to be the same amount repeated every month, you would determine whether it's fixed or variable. In this case, this is like a fixed amount. So I click fixed, and it jumps from the unused column into this fixed and variable column. Let's say you also have help, and that would also be fixed. What else do we want to put in there? Let's say cooperative loan repayments. Okay. No, let's leave that for now. Let's say, okay, let's put just those 2. So if we come back to cash pay, let's say we have housing allowance. That's a fixed item. Then let's pick something like commission, and let's call that variable. Variable means that it appears in the payroll, will be copied to the new month, but will be copied as a 0 because you don't want to copy the same amount from month to month. Right? Now, if you select here all pay classes, you can now see everything that you've selected for input, including the calculated. So if you ignore the calculated fields, you've selected help, corp shares, leave pay, no, not leave pay, house allowance, commission, and basic salary. So if we go back to payslips, you can now see we have the things we've added are showing up: basic salary, commission, housing allowance, corp shares, help. So this is what we are starting with. If in the course of time some new kind of pay type becomes relevant for you, you can always come back here, click on it, for instance, bonus, and select it. But for now, let's just select those few. So you can close your pay types. So you've already customized now what information can go into your payroll. So now let's put in pay information for the employees. These were the people that we put in. So let's take Anne, and we've selected basic salary, and that's what we want to put in. So let's put in some salaries for these employees. So you just go putting in each person like that, and you type in the amount. Very simple, just like a spreadsheet. We're just going to put in data for the 4 people like that. 40,000. Okay, so we've put in the basic salary. Now, let's say Anne Wambua also has housing. You would come here, you would select house allowance, and let's say it's 15%, it would be 15,000. Let's say Jane doesn't have house allowance, but she has commission. This month she has earned. And let's say her commission is 20,000. Let's make it a different number, 25,000. And then let's say John is contributing to the circle. Obviously, all these things you can add for everybody. So corp shares, let's say 10. And you'll notice the color changes when we go to a different category. We've gone from cash to bolded. It has now turned blue. Who else do we have? Let's take Tom, and let's say he has help of 3K. Now, all these people could also have the same thing. So, for instance, John, we could also give him housing. He's 60K. What is 15% of that? Difficult. 6,000. Let's say 8,000. I'm not sure about that calculation. Okay, so that's it. So don't worry about these things not appearing in order. When you calculate the payslips, they'll be put into order. Now, at this point, nothing has been calculated. If you click on this display complete payslips up here, you can see when we tick it, the line count is exactly the same as when it is not ticked. 9 lines. After you've put in your manually input information, what you do is you click process payslips, and that calculates everything that needs to be calculated, your taxes, your government deductions, etc. So let's just click that. It gives you an information that you want to confirm that you're ready to proceed. You say yes, and you can see down here it goes through several things. It's doing now all the calculations necessary, and then it gives you a confirmation at the end that you have calculated successfully. Now, if we go back to this display complete payslips, remember the 9 are what we put in. If you click this now, you now have 72. Why do we have that? Take Anne, for example. From the 2 items that we put in for Anne, which was basic salary and housing, the system has calculated her full payslip to there. Okay, and it includes a fixed pay component. If she had a variable item, you would see a variable pay. It has her gross salary. It has done for her an allowed, which is NSSF. And it has calculated her PAYE, her personal relief, her net PAYE, NHIF, NSSF. And you can see all of them have different colors based on category. Total government deductions are sitting down here. Then you have the net of gross pay minus government deductions to give you the net of government deductions. Then in her case, she doesn't have any voluntary deductions except a rounding component, which you can switch off if you want, but most people are quite comfortable with it. And then you have your net pay. So this is her net salary down here. And then if you remember, we talked about memo items which come after the net pay calculation. So in this case, all we are showing is the 200 shillings NSSF organization contribution. So this is basically the way you do your calculation of your salary information. Now, the next thing you need is your reports. So for instance, let's close this so that we only have the clean look of the payroll. If you want to look at your payroll reports, they are all listed here. You don't go anywhere else for reports. The reports are sort of on the same form as where you put in the info. So the reports are split into different categories. You have payslips up there. You have payroll summaries. You have pay detail lists, which support the payroll summaries. If you go down, you can click on there, or you can click in this space. You have your monthly statutory returns. Monthly statutory returns. And then you have special items. You have bank export files, bank payment reports. These are manual ones. I'll show you each of these. You have payments reports, institutional returns, help, pension. You have accounting journals, and then you have year-end reports. So those are all the reports you need for the payroll, and they are all accessible directly from this, what we're calling the payslips form. So for instance, if you wanted to print payslips, you could click there, and it will pick up all the payslip information and put it into 2 columns, which is what we have selected. All right. So there we are. Now, if you want more information to sit in this payslip, you come to the home page here, and you click on payslip setting, and you can tick if you want to show the physical address, or postal address, organization email, and all these things. If you want to show the job department, job title. So for instance, let's say job title, job and department, and let's say we want to put staff number, PIN. Look at these items. I think we had put all that info for one person. And then I take you quickly to organization. Let's say we put 721-55555, physical address, downtown, 123 000, Nairobi, Kenya. So you could put in all your information here. So we go back, you have to close the report, and then you open the payslips again. And who was it we had put in for Tom Kamau? So you can see for Tom Kamau now, you have the company name up there, the address, his department, his job title, and at the bottom you have the numbers that are relevant for this character. And you can see the full payslip, and this is the format in which it appears. Now, that's payslips. That's your fundamental report. These payslips can be emailed. You have a payslip emailer. If you want to use this, I'll do a separate tutorial for that. And your most important reports are the payslips and the summary. Now, the summary, of course, sums up certain things. Like in the fixed pay, all the fixed pay items will be summed, and the voluntary deductions will also all be summed, and benefits and allowed. You can get those details if I come back here. If you go to the next category, which is pay details, let's just do pay type lists, and it actually puts let's see, maybe something better. Pay type lists by employee. We have that. Just by department. Yeah, let's just look at this pay type list. It will show you, you can see for Anne, her basic salary is listed there, and she has her housing allowance there. And then you have the total. So this total of 328 here is represented in these details by breaking down into cash basic, commission, and housing allowance. So you would actually print these two reports together to get all the details that you need. The next category of reports, I'll just show you these first three because those are the most commonly used ones. If you want to do your NSSF, you would export this to Excel. Just ignore this. This only appears when there is voluntary amounts. You would export this to Excel and this can be imported into the NSSF online returns. Same thing for NHIF. This is the format. You export this to Excel. Again, I'll show you how to do this if needed. And you have iTax, okay, which you would export to Excel and then import directly. So in summary, what we are looking at, and try to keep these things closed. You shouldn't open too much. Only open what you need. So we have put in an employee, and we have put in pay types, and we have now put in payroll, and we've created our payroll. You have your full payroll from start to finish. So I'll conclude this tutorial at this point, and I'll send you more information about how to do more from this particular form.